Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Rome series. This is episode 2 of season 2 and it is called Son of Hades, which is probably the most badass name for an episode we've had so far. Last episode started off miserably with us continuing to focus on Lucius and his now dead wife and her funeral, and obviously Caesar being killed and his funeral, but we quietly re-escalated back up to amazingness throughout the episode. Firstly with Mark Antony duping Brutus and Servilia to agree to be basically friends in the eyes of the public so they could hold Caesar's funeral together, but the real reason of course being so that Caesar's will still stood and Augustus would inherit all the money Caesar had and be named Caesar's son. And then to completely stick it to them, Mark Antony did a 180 when they were at the public podium addressing the crowd and held up Caesar's bloody robe and threw it into the crowd and created an angry mob who all wanted to kill Brutus. And the result of that is Brutus has now left Rome and Servilia is essentially having to stay with Mark Antony as a prisoner. Absolutely incredible turn of events considering how badly last season ended. And Titus Pullo's one slave, now free person, I think her name's Irene, is that correct? Anyway, she seems to be starting to like our Titus and she agreed to marry him last episode. I don't know if the dot down the forehead and nose makes it official already or if that's just like them getting engaged, but it's another thing to raise our spirits after last episode. But of course we can't have it all our own way because the episode ended in absolute misery, and of course Lucius's children were stolen by that debt collector, so him and Titus got on the case. The whole episode I was hoping they'd finally catch up with this debt collector and kill him, and they did, but at a horrific price because he claims to have sexually assaulted and then killed Lucius's entire family. I hope he was lying just to try and irritate Lucius before he died, but if not, that is absolutely tragic. I have no idea how much of a broken man Lucius Vorenus is going to be this season, but there's no way he's going to be anything like he was last season after all this shit he's been through. Regardless, as always, I cannot wait to get into it, so let's do this. Episode 2, Season 2, Son of Hades. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. Oh, my only hope for this episode is that Lucius's family are alive. Seriously, that would be so heartbreaking if that guy was telling the truth last episode. It's about as much respect as that guy's head deserved. If I was Titus, I wouldn't be letting Lucius out of my sight just now. There's no telling what he might do the way he's feeling.
This way! Come on, quickly!
Oh shit! Who is this guy and why has he been stabbed in the back? Oh, hell was breaking loose at the start of this episode. It just looks like a bunch of working class people attacking a bunch of wealthy people who went through that district of town, but maybe these are the remnants of that debt collector's gang, because they all had those same chains on, didn't they? At least they warned her, they could have just hit her with a piss bucket there. So is it like Lucius's house is cursed?
This place is a house of death.
I know.
But if we make a baby here, God forbid, it would be a monster.
Are they holding Lucius to the fact he cursed his family and then they all died kind of thing? Man, superstition is a motherfucker. I am so thankful I am 0% superstitious.
A good day out. Good day for a walk in the country, maybe.
Holy shit, it's like they just spliced in footage from his performance in Trainspotting.
Maybe it's time to cut off these mourning beards, eh? Life must continue.
That's easy for Titus to say. I mean, he's just been engaged or married, and Lucius has just lost his entire family. So, you know, it's all about perspective, I find.
Sorry I spoke. Eat your damn porridge.
Titus is being a good friend, but I completely understand why Lucius just would not want to get out of bed. Completely reasonable.
She's a queen. Caesar would have fucked Medusa if she'd worn a crown.
A fair point.
I don't want you making love to her sort.
Meaning younger women of higher rank than you.
That's a good general rule.
Well, at least she's honest about it.
You assured me I'd have it by now.
I'm so sorry, it slipped my mind. I will see to it.
Is Mark Antony trying to take off with the money here?
So when can I expect transfer to my control?
What's the rush?
Some wicked woman giving you the squeeze, eh?
All I know is Octavian is a smart guy. If he's starting to mention this to Mark Antony, it must be genuinely worrisome.
You've changed since we last met.
Have I seen you before?
Is that Cleopatra?
Those uniforms you wear. You all look alike.
It is Cleopatra, isn't it?
48,000 denarii a month.
35.
45.
42.
Cleopatra's got herself a good right-hand haggler.
My son by Caesar is near 4 years old. He's begun to ask questions about his father.
How touching.
Son by Caesar, you say? Well, Titus Pulo might have a thing or two to say about that.
A simple public declaration of paternity would suffice.
That is a bunch of bullshit, Cleopatra. You know for the fact that isn't to please your son. That is to give yourself more power.
That's possible.
Straight away, Cleopatra using her feminine prowess to her advantage. And we all know Mark Antony will fall hook, line and sinker for that shit.
Come now.
Nice. Double tapped.
Nice manners. For a whore.
Definitely not going to get on Cleopatra's good side calling her a whore.
Your son will eat shit and die before I make him legal.
You see, very changeable.
She was correct. Incredibly changeable.
Perhaps you'll change your mind. We'll see you at dinner tomorrow, I believe.
I'm pleased Cleopatra drew a hard line with Mark Antony there. It's also incredibly amateurish of him to just be wanting to fuck her, so to blackmail her for those purposes. It's completely different than Caesar and her hooking up, because that was a mutually beneficial thing, and their son would have provided them stability in the years to come. Mark Antony just literally wants Cleopatra's vagina.
Every gang in the city is fighting for control of the hill. Every day there's violence.
I see, so the debt collector guy's death is basically creating a gang war in the working class to see which gang can now control that area kind of thing. Always happens in real life when a top gang person is murdered.
Whoever controls the Aventine controls the docks and the grain supply.
I am aware.
The violence will spread.
Now that's something interesting I didn't know. So the docks are in the Aventine district of Rome, thus the grain comes through there, which actually gives the poor district a shitload of power.
What can I do for you?
You sent for me.
Oh, yes, that. Show him.
I don't know who the fuck would send for Cicero, but you know, that's another story.
It is a list of candidates for next year's elections drawn up by our beloved Caesar just before he was taken from us.
Another lucky find.
Obviously, Cicero's insinuating there that that was a document drawn up after Caesar's death, but it wouldn't surprise me if Caesar wanted the same names as Mark Antony now does.
I suggest you let me strike the worst scoundrels off this list then. I will endorse it.
Fine. Do as you like.
Man, I'm so surprised Cicero's getting a say in any of this, especially since Mark Antony literally walked in on him congratulating Brutus and Servilia for their treachery.
I'm surrounded by money grubbers.
Instantly, I do not like Mark Antony in a position of power as much as Caesar. All we've seen so far is why Caesar was such a good leader.
Varenus! Officers afoot!
Centurion Varenus.
But he's instantly got back in my good books the fact he's taken the time to come and see Lucius.
Caesar is dead, and it was you as good as held the knife.
Mark Antony was equally at fault for getting pulled away from Caesar, to be fair.
This is my master. He will take me when he chooses. At present he wishes me to suffer here on this earth.
Fuck, that's rough. Imagine thinking your own gods want you to suffer like that.
By sacred oath, under the standards of the 13th.
He's being a prick about it, but reminding him of his duty to the 13th might be the thing we need for Lucius to snap out of this.
This, I take it, was Erastes Fulman.
I told him to get rid, but it calms him to look at the thing.
It's basically a zombie head at this point.
Would you like a chance to redeem yourself, Centurion?
I hope Mark Antony isn't going to make him do some horrible shit here. I hope he's actually being nice to him here. Got a feeling that guy's last words were brains.
She was very grey and formal. He was quite the little mouse.
Jupiter's stone.
On Juno's cunt.
They're not going to turn Mark Antony into a completely manipulative piece of shit this series, are they? I really liked him last season.
More tedium to follow this damn dinner tomorrow, no doubt.
Is Servilia coming by any chance?
Yes.
Atia will for sure want to be saying hello to Servilia after the change of events last episode. It's nice they've got diving in common. You need something in common. They were racing to see who could give head to who first there. It's commendable.
Where's your mother?
Even these interior sets look incredibly expensive. They did such a good job with like the set design and costume design in this show.
Well, you need have no fear of me. I have won and you've been humbled.
A little bit of mocking is surely acceptable.
Shall we be friends again? I cannot honourably refuse.
I don't know why Atia would honestly do this. What would be her motivation whatsoever for wanting to do this? Because deep down she knows Servilia would want her dead at the first chance she got. So is she just doing that to mock her, to perceivably take the high ground?
The abduction and killing of Servilia, she leaves this evening.
That's absurd.
Her death would throw the Republic into uproar.
I don't care.
Oh, so Atia is planning to kill Servilia. No deaths at the fucking dinner party with Cleopatra, please, Atia. Rome's unstable enough as is.
I won't be needing you. You can go now.
Damn, she had them all ready for it and everything. There was me thinking she was perhaps doing something noble for once. Of course not. Of course she was planning to kill her. How absolutely idiotic of me to assume anything other than that.
Cleopatra Philopata, mistress of Sejan.
I'm not sure about the haircut, but I do love the cobra tiara, so you know, there's one in the win column, one in the loss column.
My darling Caesarion, does he not look exactly like his noble father?
Uncanny.
He does. He looks incredibly like Titus Pullo. I love the way it's filmed this, because it's not really about what's being said anyway, because everyone in this show has alternate intentions, so the fact we're just getting close-ups of everyone's scheming, uncertain faces makes it even better than if we were just hearing a conversation at this dinner table. And Atia is, of course, as always, threatened by any other powerful, beautiful female she meets.
Release me now, children. Let me hug your father.
Why are you here?
So happy to see your brother.
This guy actually has a family to go home to. What a piece of shit. I swear he never sees his family.
Laura tells me you're doing very well. Horses?
Horses.
What was the significance of that? Is this guy's brother going to become important?
Atia, I have made a friend for life. I feel it.
Oh, Atia fucking hates this shit.
Don't scream, you big spawn troller.
I fucking knew it. Imagine having the balls to whisper threats into the Queen of Egypt's ear.
Party's over. Everybody can go home now.
Oh my god, she's so threatened by other powerful women, seriously. To a comical level.
You hate Rome. You hate Romans. And now you come to live amongst them. I don't think so.
As much as this mercenary hasn't shown himself to be the smartest tool, I think he's right about this.
Our so-called leaders lick the boots of Roman soldiers. The Pharisees are shameless.
Listen to me. You're in Rome now. Keep that cat to yourself, do you hear me?
Yeah, this guy needs to shut the fuck up. I don't know what he was expecting coming to Rome after having to flee somewhere for speaking too freely and then speaking even more freely in this guy's house. He's been happy here. Stop causing trouble for him. He's been getting to fuck Atia on the side and everything, and as much as everything else can be said about Atia, I think every heterosexual guy in my comments will agree. She looks like she'd be fun. Holy shit. What a horrible form of torture.
If he touches any man of mine again, there's a grave danger that I will become irate.
And you can tell this is the new guy vying for control in the Aventine because he's wearing them quarter-sleeved fucking things, the same as the last debt collector was. I keep calling him a debt collector. I know he was way more than that, but it's an easy way to pigeonhole him. And if you've learned anything from modern Twitter, it is that everyone has to fall into an easily titleable group, which we can then hate them for the title we ourselves have given them. Hopefully this is symbolic of Lucius snapping back to reality a little bit. I'm not saying he's being unreasonable, by the way, but I really hope he does progress back to mental health quickly, just because I know there's only one more season of this show. I don't want to see a distraught Lucius Vorenus for like 8 episodes of the final season. Do you know what I mean?
You can't talk to a priest of Concord.
Why not?
Because you can't, you fucking savage.
This guy's instantly as annoying as the last one, which is a true representation of what happens whenever a piece of shit dies. A new piece of shit pops up in its place. Piece of shit that's been waiting for that piece of shit job. He's been looking up to be that piece of shit his whole life.
Under the authorization of Mark Antony, Consul of Rome. Follow me.
He certainly has a better relationship with the rest of these gangs though. At least they listen to him and don't kill his family.
The Aventine is now mine.
You can't do that.
Awesome. He completely deserves to rule the Aventine.
We're duly respectful. You would do well to return that respect.
I can't do that, but I can give you coin instead.
Nice. Straight disrespect. Fuck you, bitch. Here's some money.
I require your acknowledgement and acceptance of these terms.
5,000 denarii.
This is the Lucius Vorenus I like to see.
Why would sane and respectable men like ourselves do business with a poor, curse-hounded beast?
You might be the one that has to die to get an example set if you keep talking like that. Is he gonna get rid of the lady offering protection or kill him with it or something? Lucius fucking means business.
I fuck Concord in her ass!
Maybe Concord likes it.
Serbo, will you do business with me?
He looks absolutely psychotic. Now that is a facial expression only a Scottish actor can do. Only we have the natural psychosis necessary to pull off that look. You might think, oh, I can do that with my jaw. No, it's in the eyes.
Once they have the money and spend it, then they will want more money.
Mark Antony is correct, but that being said, you have to honour Caesar's will.
You can tell your lawyer, you'll not get one brass obol of that money. Nothing.
I really dislike how Mark Antony's carrying himself this episode.
Tell him that you're perfectly happy for him to administer Caesar's estate.
But I'm not happy.
What do you think I am? What choice do we have?
I agree with Octavian. I think if he got hold of Caesar's money, he would certainly be able to hire the muscle necessary to allow him and Attia to fend for themselves. Which I know is an oxymoron, but you know what I mean.
That's enough! Bye! Bye! Off with you!
No need to flip him off before you run away.
I need work. I'll do anything. I'll suck your cock.
Guy was like, say no more, you're hired.
The plebs are roiling in want and anger. Rome is in need of new leadership.
Agree with absolutely everything Octavian said there. I loved Mark Antony last season, but without Caesar holding him back somewhat, he just seems like he's going to be a prick now. And it's a shame because he was one of my favourite characters in season 1, but in this second episode of season 2, he has dropped rapidly in my estimations.
Gods don't like this sort of shit from mortal men.
I'm following the orders of a consul of Rome, my master by oath.
Now they're teasing a Lucius dark side turn here. I'm not buying this one. I know Lucius's heart, and I think where at first he might go along with someone doing some ruthless shit, the humanity will hit him at some point, and he'll return to being Team Lucius and Titus, Team 13th.
300 sesterces from the hands of Octavian Caesar himself!
Oh, that's awesome. Now, Mark Antony hasn't given him the gold yet, so I'm assuming that's just Mark Antony actually listening to Octavian and going, alright, I'll give the plebs the money.
You're giving the plebs their money!
Is it so late already?
Octavian did it of his own accord. That's even better.
This seemed the best way to introduce myself to the people.
That will be seen as a direct challenge to me.
I absolutely love this.
Public display of unity.
It makes sense. Our interests are conjoined.
This is amazing because I was expecting Octavian, given his age, to just take it like a bitch when Mark Antony said no. It's about time he stands up.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
I'm Caesar's rightful heir.
I love this scene. I love this scene.
How much?
3 million sesterces.
Arjunos,
cunt!
Deal with it. This is what Caesar wanted. You were happy to go along with this shit in episode 1, Mark Antony, where everything went well for you. As much as he might want to just now, you can't kill Octavian. He's just not built for fighting though, is he? Like if it came down to Octavian and Mark Antony, he would be dead in a heartbeat. Oh shit! He's got the heart though, he just doesn't have the skill. Oh shit.
Anthony, leave him!
This is a rough scene.
Stop it! Stop it! Juno's mercy!
What a scene this is, by the way. This scene in and of itself is such a roller coaster ride, it is like an episode.
You're not fit to leave Rome!
Still, I'm Team Octavian. He is right. Mark Antony is not fit to lead Rome. He's a great general. He's a great, like, Rottweiler, but someone needs to be holding the leash. If I was Octavian, I would take out another loan and get a legion on my back before I try anything like that in future, though. Mark Antony could have easily killed him in that scene.
Every 500 coins comes through the brothel, I get one.
Saving up to buy your freedom, are you?
So is Titus Pullo now the leader of a brothel? Are we getting Pimp Titus in season 2? I'm not against it. Someone's got to do it. Titus Pullo will be nice to these women, and he'll make sure they're all good. Unless he falls in love with one and they have a pre-arranged husband.
You come to join up then?
I heard you were hiring.
I've just realised why this will be. It's because Lucius has just taken control of the Aventine. He will have appointed Titus to look after the brothels. Like a good friend, Titus was like, oh, if it's really what you want me to do, Lucius, by God, I'll be there.
True what they say then? A wife and children?
True enough. Not a fucking word.
Yeah, best not to mention that shit. Ever. Again. In the history of mankind.
They say a black-hearted villain has taken over the Aventine College. He's in league with the gods below, they say.
Is this really the reputation poor Lucius has just because of that series of horrible events he's went through? I know he's invoked Hades twice now, both in curse form and declaring himself the legitimate birth child of, but all superstitions aside, he's not a bad guy.
They punish me now.
Don't know. Don't want to find out.
That's Titus being a good friend there with a subtle piece of dialogue just to inject it into Lucius's head. Truly always there for him when he needs him. And I feel like if Titus wasn't there, Lucius would be in grave danger of falling into the deep end right now.
The time is right.
Brutus, return. No.
You know it's bad when the fence sitter is telling you no.
How things develop.
Wait and see.
Sensible.
At least we won't have to sit about and wait and see how your eyebrow hair develops. Jesus Christ.
I will tell him.
And that's about the only threat Servilia has left to the fence sitter. Even Brutus knowing that's what he said. Cicero won't like that because he doesn't want to be perceived any way by anyone. He wants to inject advice into everyone's head while being a fly on the wall.
I'm on the road south to Campania, where I'll stay with my friend Agrippa, who is well established there.
Well, first of all, it's good to see that Octavian now has a legion defending him. I'm assuming he has inherited Caesar's legions, but I wasn't expecting him to leave Rome. I fucking knew Lucius's family was still alive. I called it last episode that that guy was lying just to fuck with them. That's so good to see. I mean, it would be horrible if Lucius never finds out that they are alive, because that could completely change him as a person, but oh, that's so good. I thought it was just a bit too brutal to be true. There's horrible things to happen to people, but what that debt collector suggested last episode was just too brutal to be true, do you know what I mean? Okay, and that was episode 2 of season 2 of Rome, Son of Hades, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, Son of Hades, what did I think of that? Man, they are setting up a complex set of characters and the way they all have dynamics toward and against one another in their interactions. And I mean that all across the board, like from the disarray in the Aventine causing Lucius to be ordered to step up and take control of it, so now all these gangs might be against him, against one another, banding together to be against him. We're starting to see Lucius slowly slip into the deep end somewhat of what he's prepared to do as a person, and Titus is now essentially the angel on his shoulder providing a voice of reason. Otherwise, I genuinely don't know what Lucius would be capable of in this moment. And as interesting as all that is, it doesn't even hold a candle to the complexity of moving parts they're setting up amongst the dynamics of the people vying for control of the entirety of Rome. We've got Attia, Servilia, Mark Antony, Octavian, Cleopatra showing up, Cicero still whispering in people's ears, Brutus off somewhere no doubt plotting. It's an absolutely crazy set of characters with different wants and needs they've just put perfectly into these positions to create ultimate drama throughout the rest of this series. It was of course glorious to see Octavian step up to the plate and be like, no, you know what, Caesar promised those people that money, I'm taking out a loan and giving them that money. Mark Antony basically showed very early on in a scene that he had absolutely no intention of giving Octavian his money, but because Attia lives her life through fear and thus always needs protection, I thought she was going to be able to placate Octavian into not doing shit, but it had the exact opposite effect, and he finally just was like, you know what, fuck everyone, I'm doing this shit because I am now Caesar's son. And it was such a greatly written scene when Attia and Mark Antony confronted him in bed. He initially showed that he was drawing a hard line. It ended up being a near fight, which I thought for sure would be the point where Octavian, you know, held his hands up and was like, alright, I'll shut the fuck up. But no, he was calling his mum a whore, bitch slapping Mark Antony. He was ready for the beef. And after that, I'm assuming he knew that he needed to collect himself, get protected, and slowly build his right to political power away from a place where Mark Antony might, heaven forbid, have him assassinated, which I feel like would have been highly likely after that interaction had Octavian stayed in Rome, regardless of what Attia was saying to Mark Antony to dissuade him from doing it. The twists and turns this show throws at you from episode to episode though, it's actually gloriously written television for real. I mean, all of a sudden within 2 episodes we've got Titus Pullo the Pimp and Lucius Varenus, the leader of the Aventine gangs. I mean, that is incredible in and of itself. I'm not saying that because I want to see Lucius take a dark path, but if you just look at where he's went in the last 3 episodes, or even from the start of the show throughout it, it's the absolute roller coaster of all roller coasters. And they're clearly setting up this season that the main power struggle is going to be Mark Antony and Octavian butting heads. We have definitely not seen the last of this. I'm assuming this happened in real history, but because I don't know much about Roman history, this is all so fresh to me, so I'm finding it all so shocking and interesting. I don't know how I would have taken it if I had been knowledgeable in the history of Rome beforehand, because I would have seen all of this coming. And it's like my whole life I chose to be ignorant towards Roman history just for this singular moment of getting rewarded with a great TV show that will fill me in the majority of the major plot points from that time period anyway. So yeah, I'm a very lucky person, and as always, cannot wait to next week. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.